So you want to make a short film on your own. It's much easier than you think, and I'll show you how to do it. Hi, my name is Lily. I made this and this, and it got really good feedback. Thank you guys so much for the support. And also I have some exciting announcement regarding my short films at the end of this video. But anyways, let's get right into it. So this will serve as kind of like an ultimate guide if you ever want to make a short film or an animate short film all entirely on your own. It's possible, and this will be the most concise and comprehensive guide I can make from my own experience making my own short films. Why should you make a film? Well, it's my belief that everyone has their own unique story and unique life, and making a film shouldn't be reserved only for big studios with big budgets and big teams. It really is becoming much easier and easier to make a film all on your own. There are so many resources, even free, out there on the internet, and it's so good to see good representation. So I encourage anyone who wants to make a film to make a film, because your community wants you and needs you. So this video is split into chronological segments with exactly how I did it with my most recent short film, Bloodbound, and added with any tips and tricks I have learned along the way. Also, if you go into the description, I've put down a bunch of resources that I've used, and also my own formatted calendar, to-do list, film shot list. All of those are for free, just so if you're making a film, it will be more streamlined and more organized for you. So check it out. Step 1, idea. So in my school, this is kind of like a yearly project to accomplish a short film where you wrote, directed, draw, animate, and produce an entire short film on your own. So for me, my idea came back in spring 2022. It came to me in a shower thought. Bloodbound came to me in a shower thought. I was like, wait, what if there's ABC and A kills C and the B sees it? And also, what if B has a crush on A, but also what if they're gay? And then Bloodbound was born. That's basically how it is. So I totally understand brainstorming like really random ideas could be really challenging, so take inspirations whenever you can. Absolutely write down any cool ideas you have. Just write them, in a silly little note. It really helps. And chances are the best thing to make a short film out of is something that you want to see, because you don't see a lot of it. For me, a Vietnamese queer psychological thriller is something I don't see much, and man, would I love to see it. So I saw an inherent demand for this thing, and it pushed me to keep going. So that was how Bloodbound was born, basically a shower thought, and it kept going from there. Step 2, writing and scripting. For me, this actually took the longest time. Script is the most important stage, I believe. So this is where you're depicting the backbone of the story. It's like mixing the little soil before you can plant, all the pretty little roses and jasmines in the garden, right? So this process actually took me like 9 full times, which meaning I rewrote the script fully 9 times. I was truly giving out this idea through like not 1, not 2, but 30 people. Like 20 to 30 people. It was a lot of people. And each time everyone had something very useful to say that I couldn't even think of. So that really helped me with refining my scripts. Here's the secret to script writing. Imagine your story like a puzzle piece that has 1,500 pieces. Don't give the audience the complete picture. That is not fun. Instead, give them some pieces made and some pieces not. Here's an example of an unfinished puzzle piece. So imagine you're watching a film and the wife says to the husband, "I'm fine." On paper, she says, "I'm fine." But in actuality, because she delivered in a very rude and curt way, we, the audience, understands that she is not okay. So what I'm saying is subtext is what drives the plot. You can say, "I hate you" or "I love you" in many different understated or overstated ways, or even just in different emotions. Even just show it in actions. I left actions to be the defining plot points in my films, and because it was a dialogue-heavy film for the most parts, the actions spoke louder than the words. So be very intentional with whatever details you put into your writing, the way you set up the scene, the weather, the mood, the way the character emotes, what they say. If you have a lot of messages you want to cover in your film, make sure that most people can read what you mean. The point is to carefully spoon feed the audience just enough information so they have to put the last few pieces together on their own. It's a lot more fun that way, and it's also a lot more engaging. Don't put all the cards on the table, but also don't hide all of it. Just enough. And that sounds like hard, I know. I struggled for 3 months too. So show it to others and let them tell you what they think. That will be the best way to gauge your future audience reactions. And don't forget who your audience is. Choose someone who is willing to help you and is honest with you, but is also able to see your artistic visions. For example, I would never show some of my relatives of what I do, but some people who understand my art and understand my artistic vision, I will happily show them because they understand what I'm trying to go for, they understand me, and they know how to make it better. That is very important. Choose your critic. Step 3, storyboarding. Here is where the art steps in. I was storyboarding at the same pace as script writing because it's important for me to visualize all the elements and just preview what it would look like structurally in the final film. This was so fun to draw and imagine my film how it would look, but also stressful because you just want to get it done. A good approach to it is to keep it very experimental. You are here to see how it will move from scene to scene, how the emotional beat will flow, not how pretty or finished it should look. Just look around and find out. Also do shading if you can. It will help with the future lighting scenes when you start the production stage. Step 4, visual development. So references. This is done at the same time as the storyboarding and the scripting process. What can I say? I need visuals because I'm a visual girly. I had a very specific color mood in my head, like a very specific tone, a specific mood, and that was my starting point to look for references. So understand that references will save your life. Steal like an artist. You're here to take inspirations from real life, your own stories, and also the wonderful artworks of other people. Don't copy, but take inspirations. They're very different, okay? I reference films, photos, illustrations, animation from all over the internet, and also my own work in the past. This was very useful in painting even more specific details of the, of what I want to see in my final film. For example, the watercolor textures that I saw from works that I was inspired from. And I just love this dreamy feeling that it gives because you're not really sure if this is real or this is not. I like that for my film, so I had it. Have a lot of contrast. I like colors, so in my film, I paid a lot of attention to the contrast in hues, like cold hues and hot tones and cold tones, and just different color hues and really playing with them. So I was very focused on that and finding references that would help me in finding good color combos. And then we go to design. So that means character design, environment design, and prop design. So design accordingly as you wish. I think the designing part is very much your own creative take. So for me, my film is set in a pretty much a realistic space. Most of my designs are heavily taken from real life, my old school back in Vietnam, and my friends, and my memories of how nature looked like in Vietnam. So for me, a lot of references help. But if you're doing a fantasy film, I don't know, man, take a lot of art references. Do anything that helps. Cool. So all these designs probably took me about, I would say, under a month. If you have a vision for your film, you know what it's gonna look like. So just do it. Something to watch out for here is appeal. You do want your film to be memorable, and having a memorable, iconic character and environment helps. You really have to think about your artwork stylistically and how that should go with the message you want to convey in your film. Again, experiment, keep on experimenting, and ask for feedback from the right people. And this will serve a bit of a guide for the next step, which is color scripting. For me, now this is the creme de la crop. My film heavily relies on color to tell the mood and the emotion of the story. So, for example, my character A represents green, so greed, like physical status, materials, while B is represented with a hot pink, showing her kind of obsession for quote unquote, a distorted version of love. So when their love comes together, this becomes a sort of like deep purple hues, really sick colors that really brings all this sort of kind of chaotic mood to this rather like it's like loud and eye straining at the end, but it's a lot more. I guess you would say like so this is all intentional, and it's all planned in this color script, which took a lot of experimenting with taking colors from life studies and interpreting my own written script. So in this stage, I also recommend do a lot of experimenting and a lot, again, fuck around and find out. So that means a lot of color studies, color from real life, a lot of artwork studies if you want to, and any artworks that you love. Take references of those colors, like, oh, I love this color combo. Take them. Take inspirations from them. I mean, don't copy it, okay? And yeah, so now most of the production work. Step 5, production schedule, shot checklist, shared drive. Production schedule. I started this step kind of relaxedly around storyboarding phase in step 3, but I think this is very important starting now. Here's the secret. A good schedule will save your life. Make a good schedule that you can steadily adhere to. Having good discipline on deadlines is a must-have, and only at the end would you have good results if you adhere to these deadlines. Here's how I made my production schedule. I learned this from a studio I recently internshipped in, and I basically just adopted their way of doing schedules because I think it's much cleaner and it's much nicer. So instead of using deadlines, we're going to use progress bars and basically color code all the tasks you need to do and really highlight the final weeks and the major deadline that you have while you film. You can use Google Sheets for this or draw this out if you rather, or use any other apps that you like. Shot checklist. You will need this. Open Google Sheets, pull down a list from your storyboards, all the scenes that you will need, order them, put them in numbers, scene numbers. I keep mine very simple, I even name them, but in professional settings with bigger scenes, you probably should break it down by sequence in each scene. If you want to make it like a game, I definitely advise splitting each scene or sequence into smaller stages so that you can keep track of which stage are you at each scene. And here's how to do a beautiful progress bar. There you go, a beautiful progress bar. Shared drive. Here is where my work stops being mainly solo and a lot more collaborative. I needed voice actors for my film, as well as music composers, sound designers, and editors, etc. Once again, just letting you guys know, you don't really need these if you find yourself savvy in these fields. For example, if you can make your own music, absolutely go ahead. I cannot make my own music for life, but I had a vision of what I want it to be, so I had to go out and seek a composer to make it a reality for me. So I went ahead and formed a hypothetical list of needed members in my team, and then I made 2 things, a slideshow and a shared drive. The slideshow will serve as your brief. You will bring this as your introduction piece to everyone you want to bring into the group. It's professional, it's concise, it's convincing. The shared drive will streamline all of your data with others so nothing is misplaced. I myself use a shared Google Drive, which you can click here and here to create one and then proceed to share with everyone. This is where the asking begins. Make a poster, PR it to the moon, or DM or email the person you want to ask to get onto your team. You basically work with them until the end of the animation and make sure to update them throughout with multiple versions. The question mark, problem arises. Every project is doomed to have some problems. That is unavoidable, but you will have to be able to work through it. For me this time, it was the fact that I was unable to get 2 good Vietnamese voice actors. I was very close, but none was fitting for my criteria of northern accent and the level of studio quality I was looking for. I'm actually really happy with the English voice actors that I chose. In the end, it was the best choice, I think. But at the time, the feeling of defeat was pretty clear. So for 2 months, I really struggled to find a good pair of actors. And this, coupled with a lot of stress from school and life at the time, I hit a wall. I honestly was having fun in New York in the winter and hanging out with my friends. In the back of my mind, I was procrastinated on the actual film. Even though I set out to focus only on the film for the past couple of months, I actually have forgot to balance it with other aspects of my life. So I left this project for about 2 months, all the way till near the end of March. So after a bunch of life and career events that has happened, and it finally hit me, wow, I really need to get back on doing this film because it's due in the middle of April. So I have about 3 weeks left. Oh my fucking god. Step 6, animation. Holy shit, it's all coming together. To me, because I prefer the pre-production phase more than the production phase itself, the stage to me was extremely tedious. When it comes to animation, there are usually 2 ways to purchase your animation app. One is by subscription, which Adobe Animation, TVPaint, and Toon Boom Harmony are the most popular ones that provide a monthly subscription depending on the tier that you purchase, but definitely check out their website, or a one-time purchase license. I think Clip Studio Paint is the most popular with this. Toon Boom Harmony also has a one-time purchase license, and Procreate for $10 if your work is not too complicated, and you can get very, very creative on Procreate. So I advocate for that for sure. There are also plenty of free animation apps out there if your film does not require a lot of complex scenes with a lot of need for timelines and layers. But if it's more complex, I definitely advise you to get one of these options. I opt for Toon Boom Harmony this year. Last year I used TVPaint, and I think both applications are awesome. I just liked Toon Boom for being able to provide what I like. I like drawing on vector, but also being able to draw outside of canvas, and there's just a lot of features that I think Toon Boom does better than TVPaint. But both apps work very well. One thing I will advocate for Toon Boom though is that it really has a very streamlined color application. I think you can do the same thing on TVPaint, but this is where I think Toon Boom wins because it just has a much more easy to navigate kind of setup for me. First, before you do any animation, you should do a pipeline, which is basically you testing out if the style and the designs that you had back in pre-production stage is going to work out for the final film. Like if you can do this sustainably and easily for the rest of the time you have for the deadline. So I started with a pipeline test. I should have done this all the way back in pre-production stage, but I was in a silly, goofy, let's ball kind of mood, and very luckily my style and animation streamlined pretty well. So this was a test shot. Yay! Basically, do everything in batches, meaning each batch is numbered, ordered by importance and difficulty. So when there is not a lot of time and water is kicking your ass, you need to be able to prioritize. What I mean is you probably should do the ones that are sort of difficult, like middle difficulty level at first, so that you kind of have a practice of what is needed to do the animation, what elements are needed, so that when you do the more difficult ones, you are able to tackle it with some experience, but also you have the energy to keep them nice and pretty. Put the easy ones probably at the last because it's not a lot of importance, and you can probably put them as last because the audience is not gonna really care about the quality that much. This is where things were really picking up. I had 14 days left to color 24 shots and edit them to the T. I really thought I could do this, huh? Step ? War and chaos. Every project has this war and chaos phase, I assume. So this was it. Everything was coming to the end goal, plus the fact that I was stalling for 2 months back in the last one, and this was definitely not helpful. That is why I say again and again, have a good schedule, but also adhere to that schedule. I think the schedule that I made was definitely very stressful. I put a lot of pressure on myself, and at the end, I broke. So don't do that. And stay sane and stay safe. Anyways, 14 days left. So when I made the calculations, I realized I cannot do this on my own. So I did one thing that I could do, ask for help. Step 7, director era. Everyone should try once. I gained a team of 7 people. I asked my friends and my classmates, whoever could help me on a little bit of everything. It was an incredible last hurdle. I tell you, every single shot. Lucky for me, I didn't have very complicated shots, so I planned this, by the way. I wanted my shots to be simple because I know it's gonna be like a lot of dialogue. I just want to be able to get the film, you know. Yeah. So final sound test, final editing, thumbnails, submit. Step 9, the aftermath. The feeling of this was like giving birth. Not that painful, just a lot. I feel proud, but also quite tired. I wrecked my diet and sleep schedule, but I am proud. So what I learned from this, ask for help and feedback, and also be disciplined. That's like 2 things I learned. Ask for help when you need, and stick to the schedule. That is very, very important. Announcements. Bloodbound is getting a sequel. I have actually been planning a sequel to Bloodbound before Bloodbound existed, so I'm very happy that Bloodbound itself had such a good feedback, because now I can go ahead and say, yes, you will see what will happen to these characters after the first film. So hopefully you guys follow along with this channel, because there will be a lot more updates about the next film in the upcoming months. I hope this behind the scenes video was helpful for you guys, because I always wanted to see something extremely comprehensive and concise behind the scenes animated short film. And so I hope this helped. Thank you. Oh, and don't forget, all the resources that I used and my own formatted stuff are available for free under the link in the description. So check it out.